True power begins the moment you stop allowing other people to control how you feel. It is the moment you stand up, not to the world, but to yourself, and declare, I will no longer be disturbed by those who do not understand me, who do not support me, and who do not walk my path. You see, the greatest struggle a man faces is not against his enemies or critics. It is against his own tendency to react. And until you conquer that impulse, you will be owned by every careless word, every sideways look, and every whisper spoken behind your back. But the man who learns to stay calm, to stay rooted, and to stay undisturbed becomes something the average person cannot comprehend. He becomes free. Understand this. People will always try to pull you into their storms. They will bait you with insults. They will test your boundaries. They will disguise their bitterness as advice. They will challenge your direction, not because it's wrong, but because it shines a light on their indecision. And if you are not ready, you will take the bait. You will defend. You will explain. You will fight battles that steal your focus and delay your purpose. But you must train yourself to walk away from anything that costs your peace, because nothing is worth sacrificing the state of your mind. The man who cannot be bothered is not empty. He is full of purpose. He is too focused to be distracted, too grounded to be shaken, too self-assured to be pulled into debates with people who are not even on the same path. Let me be blunt. If you're going to rise in life, you will be judged. If you're going to build something meaningful, you will be misunderstood. If you are going to protect your time, your energy, and your goals, then some people will label you cold, arrogant, or distant. Let them. The truth is, the more unbothered you become, the more they'll criticize your calm. Because people who have not mastered themselves cannot stand to see someone who has. But remember, what they say reveals them, not you. Every insult they throw is a reflection of their own inner state. Every attempt to provoke is their insecurity asking to be seen. You don't need to answer. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. There is more strength in walking away than there is in winning an argument. Now, let's talk about emotional control. If you do not control your emotions, someone else will. If they can trigger you, they can lead you. If they can offend you, they can own you. But when you remain calm, you confuse them. You interrupt their pattern. You show them that you no longer play by the same rules because you've elevated, and elevation always demands isolation, especially from people who live off reaction. You must become immune to noise. And that immunity does not come from ignoring problems. It comes from understanding who you are, why you're here, and what you're building. When you operate from that clarity, you no longer need to defend anything. People ask, how do I stop letting people bother me? The answer is simple, but not easy. Detach. Detach from needing to be liked. Detach from needing to be understood. Detach from needing to be praised. Because the truth is, when you no longer require validation from others, you become truly powerful. Their approval becomes irrelevant. Their criticism becomes data, not emotion. And in that detachment, you create room for something far more important. Focus. A man who is not constantly reacting to noise has time to build, to think, to move with purpose, to work in silence, to create something that speaks so loudly it makes every insult irrelevant. So I ask you, are you reacting or are you leading? Are you moving based on your vision, or are you adjusting your energy to match people who aren't even walking in your direction? The man who lets himself be bothered is always tired, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. He's drained, not because life is hard, but because he's carrying too many opinions that don't belong to him. You must let them go. Not out of hate, out of respect for yourself. Your peace is sacred. Guard it like treasure, because once you lose it, everything else begins to unravel. When you let someone enter your mind without permission, you've given them the keys to your mood, your day, and your future. But when you say, no more, when you claim your stillness and protect your energy, you begin to live on a different frequency. And that frequency, that's where excellence lives. That's where vision lives. That's where purpose speaks clearly, because the noise has been silenced. Now, let's speak of boundaries. A calm mind is not possible without firm boundaries. You must decide who gets access to your time, your thoughts, your space. Not everyone deserves your energy. People will take as much as you allow, some of them unknowingly, some of them intentionally. And if you are not careful, you will spend your life trying to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Don't. The more you explain, the more you invite opinion. But when you act with clarity and speak only when necessary, you remind the world. You are not moved by chaos, you are led by conviction. And conviction does not raise its voice. It doesn't chase applause. It walks forward in silence, because it knows where it's going. So when someone tries to stir you, stay still. When someone tries to distract you, stay focused. When someone tries to reduce you, stay elevated. Because every time you react to something small, you abandon something great. You were not born to be triggered. You were born to lead. But you can't lead until you've mastered you. And self-mastery begins the day you stop giving strangers power over your peace. So what do you do when someone offends you? You pause. You breathe. You ask, is this worthy of my energy? Will this matter in 5 minutes? 5 hours? 5 years? And most of the time, the answer is no. Most of the time, it's just noise, a distraction, an emotional thief wearing the mask of urgency. Let it pass. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them spin stories you never agreed to. You've got a mission. You've got goals. You've got a vision. And visions do not argue with opinions. They simply come true. You are not here to explain your calm to those who crave conflict. You are here to protect it. You are here to embody it. You are here to lead with it. And every day you do, you raise your standard. You tell the world, without saying a word, I no longer engage with energy that doesn't match where I'm going. Now, this will cost you. You'll lose people. You'll walk away from conversations that once felt familiar. You'll feel the urge to clap back, to correct, to fight, but you won't. Not anymore, because you've already won. You've won the moment you chose peace over performance. You've won the moment you realized not every invitation requires a response. You've won the moment you decided that your power doesn't come from being right, it comes from being centered. You're not avoiding, you're ascending. And the higher you go, the quieter it gets. Let it be quiet. Let them wonder. Let your work speak. Let your silence teach. And above all, let your peace be the proof that nobody owns you anymore. To live unbothered is not to live unaware. It is to live with choice. The choice to direct your attention. The choice to control your reactions. The choice to guard your spirit as a man guards a sacred inheritance. The mistake most people make is believing that calmness is passive. That the calm man has no fire, no edge, no ambition. But I tell you, calmness is not a lack of strength. It is a concentration of it. It is controlled power. It is heat without waste. And nothing moves with greater force than focused energy. If your emotions control you, then anyone can. If your mood can be hijacked by another person's comment, your power is for sale to the lowest bidder. This is not acceptable, not for a man building a purpose, a legacy, a life of impact. Let them say what they say. You are not here to react. You are here to realign. There is a dignity in not responding. There is wisdom in silence. The truly powerful man has no need to bark back because he has already decided his time, his mind, and his mission are too valuable for pettiness. Let others invest in drama. Let others fight over shadows. You build, you refine, you climb, because when you climb high enough, the noise dies, the air clears, and all that's left is purpose. Now understand this. People will test your peace not because they hate you, but because they are confused by you. Your lack of reactivity threatens their identity. Your boundaries challenge their habits. Your stillness reveals their instability. But you were not put on this earth to be a mirror for insecurity. You were put here to reflect vision, to stand unshaken in your conviction, to walk forward when others are still stuck in arguments that go nowhere. And to do that, you must have rules for your inner world. You must not allow entry to doubt just because it knocks loudly. You must not host anxiety just because it's familiar. You must not entertain disrespect under the disguise of familiarity. Your mind is a palace. Not everyone gets to walk in with muddy shoes. So write your rules, etch them in stone. I do not answer to provocation. I do not shrink to be accepted. I do not chase what dims my light. I do not explain my growth to those who refuse to evolve. Hold these rules close, because the world will test them. It will poke and prod and push and pull, hoping you'll forget them. But you won't, because the unbothered man has one loyalty above all, his peace. Now there's another layer to this. The deeper reason why people can't stay calm, it's because they haven't fully decided who they are. And when your identity is unformed, you will be shaped by every interaction. So you must make a decision right now. You must declare internally and absolutely who you are, what you value, and what you will no longer tolerate. Not out of rage, but out of reverence for the man you are becoming. Because when you are anchored in identity, no one else's opinion can move you. Let me give you an example. If someone called you by the wrong name, would you argue? Would you be offended? No. You'd correct them or ignore it. Why? Because you know who you are. It's the same with criticism, with hate, with provocation. It only sticks when you aren't certain of yourself. Certainty deflects insult. Conviction silences confusion. And so, we return to the foundation, self-mastery. Self-mastery is built in quiet hours. It's built when no one is watching. It's built when you are tempted to clap back and choose restraint instead. It's built when you could get angry, but instead you reflect. It's built when you decide, I will be the man who stays grounded, even when everything else is shaking. So train your mind. Every day, return to your stillness. Study it like scripture. Guard it like treasure. Practice it like war. And when the noise comes, and it will, you will not flinch, because your discipline has already rehearsed that moment. You've already played the tape. You've already envisioned your response. You've already chosen the man you will be when the test comes. And that man is calm, collected, controlled. That man knows that not responding is not avoidance, it's advancement. You do not rise by reacting. You rise by refining. Every moment you resist the urge to respond, you rise higher. Every time you refuse the bait of negativity, you sharpen your edge. Every insult you let fall to the ground without engagement becomes a brick in your foundation. Let them talk, you're building. Let them attack, you're transforming. Let them provoke, you're preparing. Because the man who cannot be provoked is the man who cannot be pulled off purpose. Now let's talk about elevation. When you elevate, you must detach from validation. At lower levels of life, people are addicted to reaction. They gossip. They criticize. They judge. It's their entertainment. But when you elevate, your entertainment becomes silence. Your conversation becomes vision. Your obsession becomes progress. And that separation will cost you. It will cost you friendships. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you your old identity. But in exchange, you gain clarity. You gain peace. You gain access to the life only few will ever touch. Because only few were willing to not be bothered by the noise of the many. And when you reach that space, you no longer see life as something to react to, but something to create. You stop asking, why are they doing this to me? And you start asking, what is this here to teach me? You stop fighting for control, and you start leading with presence. And presence is the enemy of every distraction, because presence demands power. Let me be clear. Being unbothered is not about arrogance. It's about alignment. Alignment with your highest self. Alignment with your deepest values. Alignment with your future, not your past. You must ask yourself daily, does this serve the man I'm becoming? If the answer is no, release it. If the answer is maybe, delay it. If the answer is yes, protect it. Because what you allow, you invite. And what you tolerate, you train others to repeat. So draw the line, not just for them, but for you. You are not the man who explains himself to everyone. You are not the man who apologizes for outgrowing environments. You are not the man who lets his day be dictated by emotional strangers. You are the man who holds the line, calmly, quietly, powerfully. And that kind of power, real, unshakable, rare, is no accident. It is the result of daily decisions. It is the reward of internal discipline. And it is yours if you will build it. So let them talk. Let them judge. Let them misunderstand. You have no time for it. Because you are busy becoming untouchable, not by hiding, but by knowing who you are. And once you know, truly know, then no one can ever bother you again. You were not made to chase noise. You were not made to validate yourself through approval. You were not born to react to the low-frequency pull of people who have not learned to lead their own minds. You were made to rise, and rising demands that you let go. Let go of the old story that told you to defend your worth. Let go of the need to prove yourself to those who do not see your vision. Let go of the reflex that tells you to match disrespect with reaction. The man who is free is not the one who wins every argument. He is the one who no longer needs to participate. He doesn't flinch at the insult. He doesn't collapse at the doubt. He doesn't explain his silence. He walks on, focused, clear, calm. And why? Because he's building something that noise cannot touch. His energy is invested in purpose, not people's projections. He has chosen growth over gossip, mission over misunderstanding, creation over conflict. This man has nothing to prove because he is living proof. Now, people will call you cold. Let them. They'll say you're distant. Let them. They'll say you're not who you used to be. And they'll be right. You are no longer triggered. You are no longer baited. You are no longer available to anyone who drains the discipline you've worked so hard to build. Do you understand the level of clarity that requires to rise without reacting, to climb without clapping back, to evolve without explaining every step? This is the mastery that few ever reach, because most are too busy defending their ego instead of developing their mind. But you've stepped away from that. And in doing so, you've begun the greatest transformation a man can ever undergo. The shift from emotional slave to internal sovereign. You are sovereign now. You do not need their permission. You do not need their understanding. You do not need their applause. Your direction is guided from within. And so when disrespect appears, you do not meet it. You move beyond it. When pettiness arrives, you do not respond. You realign. When the urge to argue rises, you remind yourself, this moment is a test, and I've already passed it. Because you already decided no one gets to bother me again. That decision is not made in anger, it's made in peace. It is not loud, it is sacred. It is not public. It is deeply personal. And because of that, it is unbreakable. Now let me speak to the greatest temptation of all, revenge. Oh yes, it is seductive. You feel the sting of disrespect and the ego wants to return fire. It wants to teach them a lesson, to put them in their place, to show the world that you cannot be disrespected. But here's what they won't tell you. Revenge makes you equal. Silence makes you superior. Progress makes you untouchable. You don't need to return anything to the one who threw dirt on your name. You just need to outgrow them so completely that they become irrelevant to your narrative. That is the highest form of retaliation. Success that requires no explanation. So let your results speak. Let your peace confuse them. Let your calmness humble them. And do not break your composure for anyone, because the moment you do, you've traded your throne for a shouting match. And kings do not shout. Now, I want you to begin practicing something immediately. Every time someone tries to provoke you, every time someone tests your patience, every time the old version of you wants to react, pause. Do not run from it. Sit in the feeling, observe it, and ask yourself, is this really about them? Or is this about me letting go of who I used to be? Because that is what most of this is. Not fighting others, but shedding the parts of you that once needed to fight. The insecure part, the reactive part, the unhealed part. That version of you lived in survival. This version lives in purpose. And when you live in purpose, every unnecessary battle becomes a distraction, not a destination. So train yourself to pause, to reflect, to choose. You are not here to entertain chaos. You are here to master your state, to maintain your frame, to command your frequency. Because once you do that, once you truly commit to never being emotionally hijacked again, your entire world changes. You walk slower. You speak less. You think deeper. You act wiser. And the world begins to reflect that. People treat you differently, not because you demanded respect, but because your energy commands it. This is not arrogance, it is presence. And presence is cultivated in solitude, not popularity. So let go of needing to be liked. Let go of needing to be included. Let go of needing to be praised. The calmest man in the room is not the one with the most attention. He's the one with the least attachment. Now, for those who say, but I can't help it, they still bother me. I'll tell you the truth. That's because a part of you still needs their attention. That's where the work is. That's where the training begins. You must fill that void, not with distraction, but with discipline. Start your mornings in silence. End your days with reflection. Feed your mind more than your ego. Protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. Do this for 30 days. Watch how little you begin to care for the noise. Do this for 60 days. Watch how calm becomes your default. Do this for 90 days. Watch how your life transforms from the inside out. Because you have reclaimed the most sacred power of all, your peace. And no man can lead who has not mastered that first. So where do we go from here? Forward with conviction. Forward with grace. Forward with the unshakable belief that the man who walks in stillness walks with strength no insult can touch. You don't need to raise your voice. Your silence is loud enough. You don't need to clap back. Your evolution is the answer. You don't need to explain your growth. Just keep growing. Because every time you stay calm, you win. Every time you let it go, you win. Every time you rise above, you win. And you win not just for that moment, but for the future you are building. The family that will inherit your example, the business that will thrive from your discipline, the life that will expand from your clarity. This is not just emotional management. This is generational leadership. So here is your command. From this day forward, do not respond to provocation. Respond to vision. Do not engage with disrespect. Engage with purpose. Do not entertain the old version of you. Embody the highest version, consistently, quietly, and completely. And when the world asks how you became so calm, so clear, so confident, smile and keep walking. Because once you've made the decision, once you've truly made the commitment, you will never let anyone bother you again. You have come far. Not because of how much you said, but because of how much you refused to say. Not because of how much you fought, but because of how many battles you've walked away from. This is what the world doesn't teach you. That real power is quiet. That true strength is invisible. That the most dangerous man is not the loudest in the room, but the calmest. So, if you've learned anything, let it be this. The one who cannot be bothered is the one who has chosen self-respect over self-defense. There is no more arguing, no more defending, no more giving your sacred energy to people who've never once invested in their own. Let them misunderstand you. Let them twist your silence into weakness. Let them believe they've won because you didn't respond. You didn't respond because you already won. You already left the arena. You already stopped seeking their approval. You already closed the door on the version of you that needed to be accepted. That man is gone. And in his place stands someone rare, someone disciplined, self-led, and unshakably grounded. Now understand this. The calm you've built must be maintained. It is not a moment. It is a lifestyle. And a lifestyle requires structure. So guard your environment, because no matter how strong your mind is, if you're surrounded by emotional chaos, your thoughts will be infected. Audit your circle. Ask yourself, does this person fuel my peace or feed my ego? Do they help me build or do they bring me battles? Because once you've tasted true peace, you'll never again settle for people who live in conflict. And they'll feel that shift. Oh, they will feel it. They will say, you've changed. And you'll say, yes. I changed the way I respond to dysfunction. They will say, you don't care anymore. And you'll say, I care more about my mission than I do about your comfort. They will say, you think you're better now. And you say, no. But I've decided not to be worse, just to make others feel better. And with that, you walk away. Because your path is not designed by consensus. It is crafted by clarity, and clarity only arrives when you've silenced the noise of expectation. So, let us speak now of legacy. Because to never let anyone bother you again is not just a mindset, it's a message. One that echoes across generations. It tells your children, you don't have to fight for your worth. It tells your team, we lead by principle, not by reaction. It tells the world, you can build something extraordinary without lowering yourself to match mediocrity. That is your legacy. Your peace is your brand. Your restraint is your identity. Your consistency is your influence. Because you were once the man who reacted. But now, you are the man who responds. You were once the man who sought validation. But now, you are the man who moves in silence. You were once the man who feared judgment. But now, you are the man who commands respect by how he carries himself. You have become rare. Now remember, peace is not the absence of noise. It is the ability to remain centered in the middle of it. It is walking into the storm and remaining unmoved. It is knowing that no matter what they say, what they think, or what they try to stir, you are not for sale. Not your attention, not your dignity, not your energy. From this day forward, you do not fight with mouths. You build with your hands. You lead with your presence. You teach with your example. You speak less and you mean more. You chase less and you attract more. You react less and you achieve more. Because while they are still busy trying to get a reaction from you, you've already moved forward. You're already on your next level, your next mission, your next move. And when you get there, you won't announce it. You won't seek congratulations. You won't even look back, because those who are truly unbothered don't need to be noticed to feel validated. They know who they are. And they move with the quiet confidence of a man who has nothing to prove and everything to protect. So protect your mind. Protect your energy. Protect your growth. This world doesn't need more noise. It needs more examples. Let your life be the evidence. Let your calmness be the revolution. Let your refusal to be disturbed become the greatest act of self-leadership the world has seen. And when they ask, how did you do it? Don't explain. Don't preach. Just smile. Because no one can bother the man who already knows. He doesn't owe the world his reaction. He owes it his results.